Are you ready? Are you ready to watch USC play a spring exhibition game against another team?
You are Locked On USC, your daily podcast on the USC Trojans, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, fight on, everyone. I'm your host, Mark Hulkin, and thank you for making Locked On USC part of the Locked On Network your first listen every day. Whether you're watching the show on YouTube, whatever platform you want to download this podcast to, it's always going to be free, and I'm always going to appreciate your support. This episode is brought to you by Monarch Money. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONCollege at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. No, USC did not change their mind. There isn't going to be a spring game this season for the fans. You've known about that. I broke that bad news to you a little while ago. But let's say the Trojans had an exhibition game against, I don't know, a school called the Sisters for the Poor. Deion Sanders, he's floating this idea around out there. Let's play an exhibition game. Let's play against another team. This isn't really like a new or a novel idea. It's been talked about before. But Deion's floating it out there. He's getting people to back him up. Basically, he wants to turn college football into the NFL. You know, they should just mimic the way they do it in the professionals, bring it to the college level. I don't know. What are your thoughts on having another team, I don't know, say come hang out at USC for a weekend for 3 days? Doesn't have to be a weekend. Be during the middle of the week. Do some practice and then play some sort of, I don't know, exhibition game, spring game. Well, so instead of USC's offense playing against its defense, which is your typical spring game atmosphere, USC could bring in a school like, I don't know, Whittier. Do they still have a football program? What about Cal Poly San Luis Obispo? They do, like I said, they do this type of stuff in the NFL every year. Rams, Cowboys, they used to do that thing out there in Oxnard. So here's what Deion Sanders said. Quote, I would like to style it like the pros. I'd like to go against someone in practice for a few days, and then you have the spring game. I think the public would be satisfied with that tremendously, end quote. How much, so that's my question. This is the question. How much are you willing to pay to go hang out on a Saturday, sometime in April, and watch USC's #1 offense go against Occidental College's #1 defense? I don't know, does Occidental still play football? Not competitive enough? Not worth your time? I don't blame you. Well, let's up the ante a little bit. What about if it was San Diego State? Probably too much to bite off. I'm not afraid of they would beat USC, but I'll get into the nuance of playing someone who's considered your peer in just a second. So let's say Cal State Bakersfield, Division II. I do understand trying to gin up enthusiasm, get the fans more excited, something to look forward to, something different. But I'm not a fan of the spring game cancellation shift that's been going on. And while on the surface, I like the idea, can we please stop killing football with 1,000 different cuts? Please. It feels like, I don't know what it feels like, but it kind of feels like college football skinning itself alive. There it is on the rundown. Can we slow this down a little bit? Or if we're not going to slow down and we're just trying to become the NFL light, let's just stop calling it college football because it's semi-pro ball now. You are literally doing everything they do in the NFL without rules. Two free agent windows. No salary cap. Well, there is a salary cap with revenue sharing, but as far as NIL, tell you what, get rid of the spring transfer portal window and I'll compromise. I'll consider it. But yeah, think about this. Imagine Dion having a weekend hanging out with somebody else's team, like Syracuse, who said, yeah, they'd be happy to come to Boulder. At the end of the third day, Dion's been doing his thing. And all of a sudden, he's trying to poach Syracuse's best players. Are you open to that? I'm not. But again, maybe this is something schools that are poor needs to do. They're going to look at this as, hey, you know what? This is another way to generate some revenue. We got to supplement our bank accounts. We got to pay these players. So maybe that's the direction you have to go. Right now, you can't do it. It's against the NCAA rules. So it's not going to be happening, at least not for a while. But you already have players opting out of bowl games. You have guys double and triple negotiating their current NIL deals, saying, pay me more or I'm going to transfer. So how much are players going to ask to suit up and play in a spring exhibition game against another team? It's a little different when you're going through the motions against your own guys. And look, I don't care that basketball does this. I don't care that college baseball does this. The chance for an injury playing football is a little bit higher, slightly, right? And again, football competition brings out the passion in all of us, right? It's an emotional game, especially football. When tempers start to flare and those 18, 19-year-old kids, young men, yeah, I can see fights ensuing. It's not your teammate. You can now swing at somebody else. In the NFL, they have these summer practices all the time between two teams, and fights happen regularly. I mean, go back to 2024. I looked this up. Detroit Lions, New York Giants. Their fight problem was so problematic during their 3-day get-together. Both franchises were fined $200,000 each from the league. According to the AP, back in 2023, about 80% of those joint practice sessions, they lasted 2 days. And then last year, basically 2/3 lasted just 1 day. Here's a quote for you. One to me is plenty, and that's from former New York Jets head coach Robert Saleh. Every time I've ever had a joint practice, the first day will be a little rough, and then the second one ends in a fight. And that happened, I guess, with Packers running backs Josh Jacobs last year. So look, I totally understand seeing what the team looks like, when you're in a spring game, real setting against someone else. I understand that. I get it. However, this is what programs do that need to generate excitement. That's why you got Colorado and Syracuse saying, yeah, let's do this. USC spring games average what? 10,000, 12,000, maybe 15,000 on a good week, depending on, what's going on. So would this increase that number significantly? I'm still of the opinion that if you're not going to have a spring game, then, and I've floated this idea before, let's just extend the winter voluntary workouts into spring. Say, Benny, here's a raise. You're in charge. Start your PRPs a little bit earlier, maybe, once school gets out. Use that summertime, end of July, going into August. Do the OTAs. And then when OTAs are done, take a week off, slide right into fall camp. I like that idea the best. That's how I would do it. That way you don't have that lull. PRPs are fine. The players are running it. Coaches can't be out there when there's a ball out there with the players. You just have strength and conditioning staff out there making sure nobody gets hurt. In case somebody does get hurt, there's somebody there to take care of those guys. So if we're just going to get rid of the spring game, and that's the direction it seems like it's going, and I don't see the NCAA taking Dion's suggestion and running with it, not anytime soon. I could see them saying, you know what, if you don't have a spring camp, you can do this during the summer. Give me your thoughts on it. Hit me up in the comments section. What do you think? I know a lot of you are going to say, yeah, let's do it. But there's going to be finances involved in this. This isn't going to be one of those free spring games that you get to go to. It's not a $10 or pay $25 for parking and go into the game free type of thing. Nope. They're going to charge you. You're going to need to buy a ticket. So I guess it would depend on who USC is playing, right? Again, you don't want to go up against a San Diego State. There's just not because, again, they're going to beat USC. Just you don't want to increase the chance for injury. There's just the competition level is just too close for that type of stuff. And let's just be honest, college kids, young men, they have a hard time controlling their emotions. I don't need to see guys swinging helmets because they felt like they were tackled too hard during the spring. Scaling your business requires the right expertise at the right time. With Upwork, you can find specialized freelancers in marketing, development, design, and more, experts who are ready to help you take your business to the next level. Upwork gives businesses flexibility by connecting them with top freelance talent across multiple industries, including IT, AI, web development, and marketing. Whether you need extra hands for a project or a long-term partner, Upwork makes hiring simple and affordable. Finding the right talent. Well, here's what you need to do. If you need help with a marketing campaign, Upwork can connect you with a freelance expert who delivers incredible results. They have fast and easy hiring. You can post a job for free. It's simple. And within a day, you're going to have multiple qualified candidates to choose from. Visit Upwork.com right now and post your job for free. That's UPWORK.com. Upwork.com to connect with top talent and grow your business today. Life moves fast, especially when you have a family. One day you're watching your kids take their first steps, and before you know it, they're off to college. That's why securing their future is so important. Fabric by Gerber Life makes it simple to get term life insurance that fits your family's needs. With Fabric, you can apply for term life insurance online right from your couch. You could be covered in less than 10 minutes, and in many cases, no health exam is required. By using Fabric, you can get $1 million in coverage for less than $1 a day. So protecting your loved ones doesn't have to break the bank. And Fabric also offers free digital wills and access to investment accounts to help you plan for your child's future. So join the thousands of parents who trust Fabric to help protect their families. Apply today in just minutes. You can apply in minutes at meetfabric.com/lockedoncollege. That's meetfabric.com/lockedoncollege. Policies issued by Western Southern Life Insurance Company, not available in certain states. Prices subject to underwriting and health questions. Anthony Jones Jr., USC's running backs coach, he has the same problem Dennis Simmons had with the wide receiver room last couple of years. Anthony Jones Jr., he got too many good running backs, not enough carries to go around with the guys he's got. Brian Jackson, Eli Sanders, or Waymon Jordan. Who's going to be running back RB1 in 2025? Don't forget, you got Amarian Peterson. You got the two rookies coming in, Harry Dalton, Riley Wormley. Who's going to be RB1 for USC this year? Ever since Coach Riley took over the program, it's better to be a transfer running back than one who's been recruited. So does Jackson or does Amarian Peterson, do they break that streak going into season 4? I don't know. Because if Waymond can make the transition from junior college to the level that USC plays at, Big Ten, Division I college football, he's going to be in the mix. Eli Sanders is a 1,000-yard rusher. He transferred in from New Mexico. Before that, he spent 3 years at Iowa State. In his 3 years in Iowa, Ames, Iowa, 700 yards, 4 rushing touchdowns. As I mentioned last year at New Mexico, 1,000-yard rusher. So this is Eli's third stop in college. Iowa State, New Mexico, now at USC. He's originally from Southern California. I've mentioned that before when he made his commitment from Oceanside, North San Diego County. Here's the thing about Eli. He's not necessarily just a running back. You could probably line him up in the slot, move him around. So maybe that's part of the plan. But a 1,000-yard rusher wants the ball as much as possible, right? Once they've had that taste, they're not going to take a step back. Waymond Jordan, he's originally from Florida, Pensacola, 5'10", 200 pounds. Last year at Hutchinson Community College in Kansas, 1,300 yards, 18 rushing touchdowns, better than 7.5 yards per carry. Not bad, right? He was considered the number 28 overall junior college prospect, but he was the number 1 running back coming out of junior college. That's according to On3. I went back and I looked at some of his tape, some of his film. I like what I see. Jordan has that ability to kind of start, stop, start again. He's got those quick feet, kind of glides a little bit, can sidestep you. He sort of reminds me a little bit of Woody Marks. Similar style, similar size. You can also catch the ball out of the backfield, which is always a plus. But again, you've got Brian Jackson, who was recruited. He's a load. He's that, you're making that comparison to the Thunder type of running back. He's Lendale White. He wears the same jersey number too. Amarian Peterson, similar to Brian Jackson, just not as big, not quite the thumper, and he's not really a breakaway guy. So where does he fit into the mix? I think Harry Dalton, Riley Wormley, obviously, when practice starts, they'll be at the back of the line. That's just the way it works. But is Brian Jackson or Amarian, are they going to be able to bust through? Be considered RB1? Or is that pretty much going to be between Waymond and Eli? It's going to be interesting to watch. It's going to be interesting. I don't think USC is going to have 6 running backs, though, by the time fall camp starts. Somebody will check out during that spring window. Again, too many good players. Not enough carries. Now, maybe Lincoln Riley leans into the running game. You still have 4 legitimate running backs before we talk about the true freshmen, Dalton and Wormley. So unless USC is starting to get into that whole Big Ten offense philosophy where clock management and running the ball and situational awareness starts playing a bigger role, it's going to be interesting to see how Anthony Jones Jr. and Lincoln Riley, how they get this figured out this year. Because you're recruiting running backs like they're going out of style. You don't believe me? Check out the next segment. We're going to talk about that a little bit more. Have you ever checked your bank account and wondered, where the heck did all my money go? Between eating out, shopping online, entertaining yourself, it's easy to lose track. That's where Monarch Money comes in. It's like having your own personal CFO giving you full visibility and control of your finances. Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center. You can track all of your accounts, investments, and spending in one place So you stop just managing your money and start building wealth. You're going to love the all-in-one convenience. Instead of juggling multiple apps, you can use Monarch to check your finances, track your spending, and you can even plan long-term goals. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONCollege at monarchmoney.com, and you're going to get 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONCollege for half off your first year.
The NCAA tournament is here, and so is the bracket breakdown.
Locked On Podcast Network and Amazon Fire TV channels are teaming up to deliver NCAA tournament coverage like never before. Watch studio shows featuring former players and Locked On's local experts as they guide you through every upset, buzzer beater, and bracket matchup.
Stream it all for free on Amazon Fire TV channel. Search Bracket Breakdown to see it all for free.
It's your team every day.
Do you guys have your brackets filled out yet? I still haven't done mine yet. I'll tell you right now, throwing it out there, I want to see a final between Duke and Houston. Love to see it happen. I told you we would talk about recruiting on this episode. We're going to talk about recruiting pretty much every episode unless something dramatic happens where I just don't have time to fit it in. But did anyone notice that USC has the #1 recruiting class? I keep reminding you all, you better notice. Did you also notice, or if you maybe you weren't aware of this, that USC has the most top 100 players committed in the cycle so far? Yeah, it's a true story. USC has 6 top 100 players. That school up north that thinks they're USC's rival, Oregon, they only have 4. LSU 3, Auburn 2. That's your list. That's it. And then when we talk about the most blue chip commitments, committed 4- and 5-star players, USC, again, at the top, they have 10. A&M, 8. Oregon, 7. Clemson, 6. And you got a group of LSU, Auburn, Penn State, Notre Dame, Miami, FSU, Florida State that have 5. So let me put that into context for everybody. USC today has 10 blue chip commitments. That's for the class of 2026. In the 2025 class, USC signed 9 total. This is why everybody's excited about USC's recruiting right now and why it's different than last year. I'll say it again. The 15 guys USC has committed. 9 are from the state of California. 8 are from Southern California. Last year's class, all those decommits, those are guys from Georgia, from Florida, not from California. That's why it's different. So if USC has 10 right now, 10 blue chippers, how many is this class going to finish with? 15? 20? Don't forget, you've got that June 17th through June 19th. I'm going to call it USC's Impact Commitment official visit weekend, even though it's not a weekend. Tom Tapui, Mark Bowman, Talanoa Ely, Brandon Arrington, Kini Pepe, and yesterday Haven Finney's name was added to that list. Get all those guys now where you at. So USC's at 10 right now. That's 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Malachi Lee, 17. Deshaun Rideau, 18. By the way, he's getting closer to pulling that trigger. Yes, he is. Got a little bit of inside information today. Getting close. Running back from Oaks Christian, I think, next couple weeks. He's not a top 100 player, but he's still pretty damn good, right? One of the top running backs in the country. He's a top 150 player for sure. And he's going to be USC's second running back in the class. He's going to pair up with Sean Alston, the running back from Ohio. With that said, did you know that USC made another offer to another running back from the state of Ohio? His name is Favor Aki. I think I'm pronouncing that last name correctly. It's spelled Akih. First name, Favor. He's a 4-star, class of 2026. He doesn't just play running back. He also plays linebacker. And he's fast. 100 meter, 10.9. Laser time, 40, 4.43. Yeah, dude can scoot. He's from Delaware, Ohio. I haven't mentioned his name before, but he just put out a Final 3 list. USC, Miami, Ohio State. Miami and Ohio State are recruiting him to play running back. USC is recruiting him to play linebacker, and he's not opposed to the idea. Obviously, he put USC in his Final 3, so he's intrigued by this prospect. And why wouldn't you want to consider it? I mean, think about it. Your defensive coordinator, Antonlynn, your position coach at linebacker could be Rob Ryan. Some good stuff right there. I don't know if this is another Alan Bradford situation that USC had back in the 2000s. SC wanted Allen to come in and play linebacker. Allen wanted to play running back. He eventually ended up playing both, but he had a really big game playing running back one time, over 200 yards. So we'll see what happens. Point being, Deshaun Rideau is going to be the second running back in the class. If Favor decides he wants to be a Trojan, he's coming in as a linebacker. But USC's on a really good roll right now. Recruiting #1 class in the country, the most blue chippers than anybody. And they're just getting started. All right. So are we. We're just getting started for the season. I'll have another episode of Locked On USC tomorrow. Don't forget, when you're done making Locked On USC your first listen every day, you got to go check out the Locked On Network. It's tournament time. Get all your basketball fixes in. And then when you head on over to wearesc.com, we still have that subscription special going right now, $1 for the first week. There's a ton of content. Go check it out. It's $1. All right. Until tomorrow, that next episode, everyone, you know what to do.